very important topic of India and Japan opportunities towards each other. There is a huge opportunity in Japan which we're going to discuss, and we're going to brainstorm between the eminent speakers from India and Japan how we can collaborate with Japanese companies and how we can take this business. I also request all the joinees if they can just write their questions or any queries while the session is on the message, and so that we can take up at the end of the session. Our eminent speaker are from City Secretary General Chandrimaji. We have Mr. Prashant Agarwal from he's a joint managing director of Wazir Advisors. We have Mr. Prashant Gokhale from he's a chairman JIPA. We have Mr. Rohit Joshi. He's a chief operating officer of one of the largest trading house styles, Impulse. And we also have Shilpi Tiwari, which represents a European brand in India. So I'll start with Chandrima ji for her open remarks and her views.
Thank you, Raman. In fact, thanks to BSL for steering this important webinar. As we all know, India and Japan are not very new trade partners. There have been a lot of trade-related interactions for a long time. I have personally been part of a few ministry-level delegations that have gone there simply to demonstrate the intent and the possibilities that both countries have always found in each other. And I think this was kind of formalized through the India-Japan CEPA that was signed in August 2021. However, given the present trade figures, which I think Prashant will be deliberating shortly on, there seems to be a huge opportunity still, and a lot of interactions have happened to understand that, but we are yet to come to a good understanding of that, is mainly because there seem to be a lot of cultural packaging, compliance, quality related issues, all of which require far greater engagement and understanding each other. City, which is an organization representing the entire textile value chain in India, from the fiber, be it cotton or MMF, till the garmenting sector, felt it is a very important platform, as any trade engagement with any country should have a value chain approach to it, as especially today when a lot of compliance requirements also call for a very strong and transparent value chain when you are trading with each other. So we are looking at our members to join this. In fact, many of whom have already shown their interest for the forthcoming event, which will be discussed in more detail in the coming presentations. But most importantly, if India today is looking at having a vision of creating a market of around 350 billion till by 2030, Japan seems to be one of those places where, if you're looking at an incremental growth, there is one of the biggest possibilities, because in many of the others, we have already traditionally had some inroads, and we have reached a level. But Japan, we at around 1.2% of the market, we all understand there surely is a lot of potential. One of the key deliverables of these engagements have to be the glaring mismatch that presently is between what that market is looking for and what we are presently showcasing there. I'm sure with better showcasing a lot of products which they're looking for, and India presently has a lot of potential, we'll find a better match. It has been an issue of perception, it has been an issue of limited showcasing that maybe has limited the opportunities of trade and market access there. But with these kind of engagements where we have both sides there and ready to understand each other's requirement, City is very hopeful that we are looking at a very good access and growth in this market. I really look forward to some of my colleagues who will be presenting today, both highlighting what are the potential in terms of products and categories that are there, as also looking at enhancing some of the key critical inputs that Japan also is a good supplier of. So we are looking at a good balanced trade and growth in engagement. With that, I wish this webinar all the success, and thanks to BSL once again for steering this. Thank you.
Thank you, Chandrima ji. I missed to introduce one of very important speakers, Neetu Jotwani. Um, she's the founder of Nira Global Style, my partner, and also been working on Japan for last few months very aggressively how to take Indian brands in Japan. So I request all the questions will be answered in the end of the session, and you can always write questions in the message box so that can be taken care at the last. So now I request Mr. Prashant Agarwal to just give an overview of the business statistics and the opportunities in Japan.
Uh, Thanks, Raman, and I would really thank BSL and Raman to take this initiative of taking India-Japan trade and investment relationship to a new height. I think while everybody might say that it might have, should have taken few years back, but whenever you start, it's the best time to start. So with this, I would say while we analyze too much, we will move on to my presentation, but we analyze too much in terms of what is missing, why we are not able to do business with Japan. I would say the one of the most important aspect is that we have not focused towards Japan in the manner it deserves. We are focused to US, we are focused to Europe, and we have done enough business with them, while potential is high there also. But here, the moment we start focusing on Japan, recently we have been through BSL initiative, gone and met some of the manufacturers. They're all capable enough to supply in a big way to Japan. The what was missing was the focus. I think once the focus gets created and we really work towards what they need, it can all be delivered by Indian companies really well. I think there is nothing to fear about. So that's what the message with which I would like to start. Vipin, can I have my presentation so that because through this presentation, I always feel that if people are really aware of how big is the opportunity and they start focusing, results will be delivered. I think if we can take on my presentation, I'll first talk about some numbers in next 2-3 minutes, and then talk about what is the way forward. So here we are talking about opportunities for India, Japan textile industry, a high potential market. I hope it is visible. What I am trying to say from this slide is why we are saying we need to focus on Japan is the sixth largest apparel market. So after US, Europe, UK, China, India, I think Japan is the sixth largest market. So we are not talking about because Europe as a whole might be bigger, but individually, Japan is only after UK. It's the one of the largest markets. So I think this is how we have to look into it. So when we say largest importer, Japan is the third largest importer of textile and apparel. After US, Germany, it's the Japan, which is the largest. So we are talking about third largest importer. And we have been, as India, we have been ignoring while our FTA was signed in 2011. If you talk about overall Japanese market, from last 10 years, the numbers in this slide, last 10 years, from $32 billion to $38 billion, the Japanese import have been fluctuating. Today, last year, it was $32 billion. And imagine in this $32 billion, India's share is only $400 million. So we are like just about more than 1%, which is like with our relationship and trade is too low. So here I'll talk about what are the shares of each and every countries. For example, China. We think China is prominent, yes, but it only takes 52% share. Today we have Vietnam, which is 16% share. Growing, China is degrowing while Vietnam is growing at a 8% CAGR. China import in Japan from China is around $17 billion. Vietnam is $5 billion. Bangladesh 1.3, Indonesia 1.2, Myanmar 1.2. So if you see, Cambodia is also around 1.1. So while India is only 400 million, what do you see from this slide? One is that Japan is a big importer. Second important is wherever Japanese have really paid attention. They have done joint ventures. They have invested in technology. They have invested in systems and processes. Those countries have automatically started supplying. So with Japan, when we want to develop market, I think we should partner with them, whether in building SOPs or technology, everything in trade. That partnership and relationship, because Japanese work on a long term basis. This could be seen from this slide clearly. So with Chinese, they really invested in SOPs and grew big. With Myanmar, which is so small, Japanese decided that we have to be present in Myanmar, and today it's almost $1.2 billion imports from Myanmar. So I think this slides clearly gives you a perspective. If these countries, which are smaller than us, can be much bigger in terms of exports from to Japan, India, in partnership, we can develop a lot of trade. This slide I have developed to show that there are categories. All of us who are in textiles, who are in this business, they will understand India. If you talk about apparel imports, in women's cotton wear, India is good. It does billions of dollars worth of export to US and Europe. When we are good in a category and we have only 1% share, well, Japanese import in women's bottom wear is $2.6 billion. In men's bottom wear is $2 billion. So our share is what, 17 billion million dollars, $23 million, 1% share. So the categories we are really strong, there also the share is only 1%. You know, we are very good at making dresses and ensembles. There also the share is less than 1%. So I think, and then home textiles, carpets, terry towels, bed linen, we have huge market share of US. But in Japan, which is almost $2 billion imports in these categories, our share is minuscule, 3%. So I think with these kind of prominent presence, our share can be increased to a much larger extent. So this is what I have talked about, how has been the market and the share and where we are present. So I think path to enhancing sports, very simple. We need to work together with them in product development, diversify our product portfolio. Definitely we consolidate what we have, but and the diversification of product portfolio means that work on a lot of blends, fiber combinations. We really work together with them, understand really what they need, develop those product mixes, those fiber mixes, those yarns, those fabrics, and then give them what they need. We have the latest technology, we have the machine, and we can give it. Definitely, all we know, Japan means consistency and commitment. I think this we cannot forget when we talk about Japan. Here we are talking way forward. I think I have listed three very important aspects, and Raman will agree on it. The focus on nominated fabric suppliers for Japanese traders and brands. Japanese will buy fabric from us. We have big corporates who have state of art facilities and make very good fabrics. We can be supplying fabrics. Those fabrics initially can go to Vietnam, can go to Cambodia, can go to Bangladesh, get converted into garment, go to Japan, or convert into garment and go to any other country in US also, in Europe also, where their brands are there and where they're supplying through traders. I think this opportunity where we are only focusing on garment, this fabric and yarn opportunity is big, and that's what we have to capture. The next, India's export potential in terms of garment, while first fabrics and yarns and then garments. We know, I have already shown you in earlier slides that what is our share and how we can expand, whether women's tops, men's bottom, or home textiles, carpets, all these categories. The last part here, we are saying we are have to align to buyers' requirement, looking at technical and investment relationship. I think this is the bottom line where we say that Japanese means a long-term relationship, and long-term relationship, you need to understand each other well, understand each other's requirement, and you don't need to be too different. You just have to understand, respect. They will respect what we are, we have to respect what they are and what they need. Once you respect your borders, I think joining hands and working together will be easiest with Japanese than with anybody else, because they are not fly by night operators. Once they have joined hands, you need to build individual factories only for Japanese buyers. That's the case that we are going to build up for future in Japan. I think with this brief, some numbers and the potential is what I wanted to talk about. Let me move on to Raman. Raman, We will answer questions later, but I think my other speakers will take on further on this. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Prashant, for your statistics, which are always give an insight of industry. Just to summarize, before I request Prashant from JIPA to start, Japanese are the highest rated trading companies. Their trading companies are highest credentials, and they buy from wherever the yarn. They will produce fabric from wherever any country which is best, and they will make garments in the countries which are best, and they'll supply to the whole world. So it's not only Japan import. So trading companies of Japan, they work on a global supply chain. So that is where we need to collaborate with them, and that's where the opportunity is. So now I request Prashant from JIPA, which is an organization which works very aggressively between the trade between the two countries for last more than a decade. So I request Prashant to please start his presentation.
Thank you very much, Raman. Yeah, so good to see a lot of people are in the call today. They're interested in Japanese market. So myself, Prashant, I'm here in Japan since last 20 years. And I'm chairman of Japan India Industry Promotion Association, which promotes trade between India and Japan. So we have been organizing event on textile sector in Japan since last 10 years. So recently we have concluded our 14th edition of India Trade Fair in Japan, which was held from July 23 to 25 in Tokyo, Japan. So about 250 companies from India, up and over India, participate in the event, and which got about 2,980 buyers from Japan. So uh, many countries have been trying to say China plus one. Japan also in the same on the same boat. Since past 10 years, they were saying that okay, let's go ahead out of China and try for another country. And of course, India was also looking at that opportunity. But as on date, as my friend Prashant has informed, we have just captured about 1% share of Japanese market. So there are a lot of opportunities. But the other countries like Vietnam, Cambodia, and Myanmar and Bangladesh, they have captured huge amount of business from China to Japan. So past last 10 years, Japanese companies were moving out of China, and they are producing in those countries. But now the time is for India now. So 10 years they were producing those in those countries, but now they came to know that those in those countries the fabrics and raw material is coming from China, and they're also dependent on China. And now uh, there's a time now we are talking to many Japanese buyers. We are interacting with them. We also arranged meetings with Japanese buyers in India. In Bharat, we have been we have invited about 250 buyers from Japan. And recently, there is a delegation from Japan also in India. So there is a lot of momentum going on between India and Japan now. So Japanese buyers are aware that India has a capacity uh, from complete value chain of fiber to fashion. We can produce various kind of products in India. They are only looking at India as a replacement of China, but they are very much conscious about delivery and quality issues. So I know many companies doing business with Japan since the past 40 years, but still they are not able to deliver on time, and the quality issues are still there, remains the same. So we need to take care of that while doing business with Japan. So as you can see from the graph, Japan imports produce from all over the world. So there's huge opportunity in Japan. So there is a lot of momentum going on between India and Japan. Japan is obviously a good friend of India in terms of political and trade relations. About 1,500 Japanese companies are in India, and 9,800 Japanese people living in India, and they are Japanese government has done some survey that which country would be good for doing business for Japanese company. So India comes as a number one for them as a uh, country that they want to do business in India. Uh, and Japanese are the fifth largest investor in India. As of now, they have invested about 41.9 billion in Indian market. Yeah, so on the basis of this, like we have been organizing event only for the fashion garments and home furnishing, but this is the time now. Japanese company want to source from India, and they know that India has a complete value chain in terms of fiber to fashion and everything is available in India. But they are not aware that what kind of fabrics and yarns India can produce. So this is the event we are planning, Fashion X in Japan, to promote our fabrics and yarns among Japanese buyers. So obviously, Japanese people cannot come and see where they are not aware of the Indian factories which are producing, various kind of yarns. So this is the time we need to go to Japan and show them that what India has the capability to, develop yarns like. They know that India has cotton, but they don't know about the India has polyester yarns and denim and everything India has. So we need to showcase our strength to Japanese buyers. So we are planning this event in October, October uh, in Tokyo, Japan. And we have been talking to Japanese buyers. So you can see on the right side, many of the renowned speakers will be present during this conference. And from India and Japan, eminent speakers will be there from India and Japan side too. So you can see this. There are 1 to 10 They are the top 10 companies in Japan: Mishimamura, Uniqlo, World, then Onward, Agastya. So we are talking to those companies. They're already in touch with us, and they'll be participating in our event to see the capabilities of India. These are also some of the buyers which we got confirmation from them. Like the businesses happen through trading companies. So most of the trading companies in Japan, like Toyoshima, Tamurakuma, Yagi, and all those are those companies will be taking participate in our event to have a B2B with our companies from India. Yeah, so as everyone knows that India has a 0% duty to Japan compared to other countries. So we have a good chance to capture in Japanese share for Indian market. The same, yeah. So yeah, so the event is in October. So we look forward to participation from India in a big way, so that we can promote what India can do, what India has a capacity, and then we are ready to do B2B between Indian company and Japanese companies. Ready to do PPX meetings as well. So please get in touch with BSL and to JIPA if anyone wish to participate. Yeah, that's it. Thank you, Raman.
Yeah, thank you, Prashant, for your insight. Now I request Miss Neetu Jotwani to give her views.
Thank you, Raman, and welcome everyone. So I don't know how many of you know, but 6 months back I was with Myntra, and then we decided to create, get off board from Myntra and create our own international brand. And while we were reviewing, we saw all the statistics which everyone, both the Prashants presented, right? We saw a huge opportunity in Japan. And I think a small statistics is also that Uniqlo itself is slightly short than 7 billion only in that country. And overall lifestyle products where India has a consumption of 100 billion, Japan is at 90 billion. So with those statistics and macroeconomics, we reviewed and we started going deeper into that country. So in last 6 months, we would have spent about 40 days in Tokyo and Osaka and understood a few things. And to this group, I would just kind of speak about those things and that why textile looks like a huge opportunity. So we saw that one that I mean they don't sort of get onto the wagon very quickly. The Japanese, all the organizations, they do a lot of due diligence. They would visit you. They will look at your infrastructure. It is not just the product, but also the process, and they spend a lot of time and energies in evaluating. But once they start a business with you, then they are not the sort of customers who would move away from you for a few cents. They would sort of stay with you. And so all the associations that we have seen, right, I mean those associations have been running for decades. And that is why probably because India, I mean, just expects things to be done quickly. I think India has been slightly lacking on that piece. So that was one thing which came to forth. The other thing is that because they are so deep into the product and processes, and fabric really is the 60% of your product, right? So they're always very, very interested in the fabrics that are getting involved. So whether they would want to nominate or even sort of import and reprocess and export, and all of that happens. So what yarn, what fabric, clear diligence on what sort of infrastructure it is coming out of. They are super keen to understand that bit of the supply chain. So they get deep into the supply chain. They look at all the processes, and they're happy to spend time with you and get into a solid sort of base of a relationship. The other thing is that with this country, right? I mean, some years back it was a negative interest country. Today, the interest rate in Japan is 0.25. And given that the interest rate is so low, I mean, there is never a problem in payments. That's another thing which comes, and we've started business and we have seen this personally. That payments is never a thing from Japan. Once they get into a relationship with you, the payments will come quickly. There will not be too much of a negotiation around all of that. It is just that you have to get your product right and your relationship right. So given all of this, the timings today is such that they're actually looking at China plus very, very seriously. And they're looking at India very seriously. So like Prashant explained, right, reiterating that whoever is exporting to them today, large part of raw material still continues to come from China. So whether it's a Bangladesh or it's a Vietnam, etc. So they are very keen to explore this piece. And if you look at the products that sell there, and if you just look at Uniqlo as an example, you will see it is a lot of clean garments. They're not looking at a lot of value add. They're looking at basic fabric being good and then clean garmenting. That's all largely they are interested. You will not see very worked up upon garments in that country. So if we have our fabric right, we have some innovation around fabric, if we are presenting sustainable fabrics, they'll be super keen to sort of explore and see how to make more of a relationship. It's like a marriage, that they'll come and check you out and then make sure, and then thereafter, I mean, there is a sanctity of relationship. So there will be an unprecedented loyalty. And I mean, till now we found Japan as a very close country, right? Because of the language and because of the fact that they are so loyal to whoever they're working with, not wanting. I think timings are right. I think government is super keen. The other thing which came through when we visited the embassy and we met up with Ms. Debjani, who's the economic minister there, the perception, and I want to just reiterate at this point, that it's a perception that India is generally a low quality product. product coming from there. And she said that, while we are so keen, but what to do, our quality is not good, etc. So that I think the new India is not that. I think I personally know a lot of people here in this group, and a lot of work is going on in creating right products, in creating right quality, in the product price proposition. The fact that India itself has become so competitive, right? If we just add a little more value to the product on the base fabrics and yarn, we have everything sitting here. So I think these are few things that I want everyone to keep in mind in when you think of what's in it for us. That's also, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Ritu. Before I pass to our next speaker, uh, the real India we have to show, and the real India they have not seen. They have not seen the real polyester coming out, the quality products coming out from various parts of the country where we can really exhibit real India. So that we need to show them. We have an eminent speaker from one of the largest trading house, Impulse. They've been working in the similar region, Korea, in a big way. They also have a presence in Japan. So I request CEO Mr. Rohit Joshi to please come up and share his.
Sorry about that. Am I audible now?
Yes, please, Rohit.
Yeah. So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, BSL. Thank you, Mr. Datta, for getting me on the call. Japan has always been the gold standard as far as business practices are concerned, as far as product quality and innovation is concerned. Uh, we definitely have the infrastructure, whether it be in textile or in apparel manufacturing. As Mr. Datta mentioned, we operate in a very similar market, which is Korea, which is also, as Jyoti mentioned, Neetu Jotwani mentioned that, it's clean product, high quality, fabric innovation, and adherence to quality standards, delivery, performance. It's a market which moves very slowly. But when it does, it is a long market. It's a market which you can stay in for long. So certainly what is required is a patience and a focused strategy. It cannot work on a strategy where you have a very generic attitude towards a partnership. It requires a focused group within a company. What I would say is that it definitely is a good initiative from BSL because we do require a bridge via medium, someone who can showcase our strength and possibly build in the infrastructure for partnerships to be formed. Definitely, it's a very interesting market. It has a lot of opportunity. It's a focused market for us also. So I would say that I'm happy to sort of partner with anyone who does require our assistance. We definitely are committed to that market. We see a gestation of 2 to 5 years and definitely a large opportunity there. So look forward to working with BSL, in the short term and mid term, and definitely build the market for all of us in India.
Thank you, Rohit. I have few questions which have come up during this session. First is polyester. In our last visit to Japan, they don't know where Surat is. So they don't know whether India is producing technical textiles. But the delegations are coming only to explore polyesters in India now. So that's one of the good presentations what we gave there, that we have excellent polyester manufacture, technical textile manufacturers in India. So the delegations are coming now. They are looking at denims in India. So last week there was a delegation who was looking for denims, shooting shirtings, and I think Prashant Wazir will also add to it that because he was also a part of with the Japanese people, that what all categories they are looking at in India. Prashant.
I think, as Raman just told, one, definitely denim. Second, PV fabrics, PC fabrics. When they talk about PV and PC, then there are acrylic blends that they are looking for. When you talk about these fabrics, they're see. I still remember we organized almost 10 years back a kind of roadshow for Japanese buyers here in India, where there are 25 companies which came, Raman, and none of the fabric was only cotton or only polyester, and they do all kinds of blends. So I think it's not only about serving what we are making. We have the technical capability, we have the machines. With their partnership is what we are talking about, creating blends. No, ultimately, fabric is where textile ends. Garment is all industrial engineering. You make, the designer will make patterns. They will tell you, okay, this is the garment which is what you wear and look good. But fabric is where textile technicalities ends. So I think the kind of blends, all possible blends of polyester, cotton, acrylic, wool, then copra, all kinds of fibers they use, and that's where they fetch you such good price and help you develop the capability. So I think fabric, the only experimentation when I talked about product development is you have to try different fibers. You have to just experiment, try, get that approved, and then sky is the limit for those. And all machines which we have are capable to deliver those.
Just to add to another question, what as BSL we are on the language front, we are already creating a facilitation desk. We have taken people on board. Uh, Before this event will happen in next 2 months, people who've got very strong knowledge on product based out of Japan are going to be, and they have a language of Japan, who will be interacting and also apprising who all are participants with the relative companies which are agreed to be a part of this event. So the pre-informations, pre-presentations we will be doing before the event will happen. That is one. Second is they are also looking at collaborations. Any company who is ready to collaborate to do a demand product of, it's not only Japan but a global demand product. Japanese companies are ready to partner with them and give all technology. So there is one company which wants to bring fiber to India, get it done, and they want to buy back for rest of the world. So they want to collaborate in India in big way. Uh, Third question was GIS standards. So GIS standards are as similar as American standard. They are not very different. But unfortunately, people have not studied it. Uh, Bureau Veritas as well as ITS. I think Neetu can answer there. There is a notion that the government, it's a government norm to have GIS passed, but it is not. It is a customer's norm, right, Neetu? I think you can elaborate further.
Yeah, so GIS is basically a process which is differentiated compared to a BV, etc. Second thing, because Nissan is there, as an agency who's doing large part of this, and there is a little bit of a monopoly. Because of that, it's also expensive. So there are conversations with the ministry here as well as the brands to say that we should have this ability to switch, because today Jaipur exports the maximum and it is situated there. So there are a lot of other things which are happening. But if your product is the right quality, in fact, the brand that we are introducing into the country, we did all the testing basis, the JIS, and it passed. It's just that A, it's super expensive, and B, the process is slightly elaborate. That's what it is. But there are conversation, and we can work around that, and we can specifically work with the customer to say that this is what we want and this is how we want. The other thing is that if the cost of testing is what is bothering, then that can also be spoken about, that this is the cost, and so we're coming here. So there are ways to go about this. Don't get deterred because of JIS.
I think answer to everything is collaboration of right partners. So if as a group we are all ready to go to Japan by taking the best of India infrastructures and product, we can find solutions for everything, and that is where we want to do this convention in Japan. Okay.
Raman, if
Yes.
you explain the show that we have in October, more in detail the dates and everything, it will be good for the audience so that they can. Yeah, that's what I
So
feel.
yeah, it's on 15th and 16th of October. And we already have quite a few confirmations from large traders, trading companies, and the brands like Adastria, Toyoshima. They have confirmed to participate. Uniqlo has confirmed to participate. So it's going to be a more a B2B show, and definitely at BSL we're going to vet the participant whether it is a right fit for Japan, and we will only take the serious players who want to grow Japan in a very strategic way. So that is the whole key about this event.
The other thing is, I would just caution everyone, just plan some time for visa. So, I mean, do the visa in time because it takes sometimes 15 days as well for the visa. So just plan it accordingly. But like Raman said, that I think betting will be done by BSL.
And I would just add here that what Raman explained to me. Normally, you have a lot of exhibitors from different countries, and they have preferences to go to one or other. Here, while BSL is going to select clearly which are the serious players and who have the right product, but you have exclusive meetings. You have exclusive buyers who are there, and you have one-to-one meetings with them. You have presentations with them, which normally this kind of platform was never there till now. So it's a very good start to be there from that perspective.
Is just one more thing that last time the ITF that Prashant had mentioned, so many people participated, but about 85% of those who participated were the garment suppliers from Jaipur. And what we saw, there were a few fabric mills who came with BSL. I think the traction was very high. I think there were a lot of people who wanted to understand that what India has in terms of fabrics, because they are fairly not clear that what India offers. So if even the basic fabrics like denim, stencils, viscose, everything, if you think that the base quality is right and you have the right infrastructure to showcase to them, I think you should definitely be on.
So thank you. I've mentioned my email address, and the yeah, phone number will also be shared once we receive an email of your interest to participate. Thank you everyone for taking your time. Thank you speakers for your time.
Thank you.